guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary Rosie and today I'll be doing an ombre tip tutorial using Ritzy Dips Moonshine and their clear, which is called glass. I've already got a builder gel as my base. That's what I use for all of my manis. I'll be using double dip liquids to begin with. So I found that the easiest thing to do is to apply a nice thin coat of dip base. And then I'm using a small eyeshadow brush to tap on the glitters starting at the base of the nail, or maybe you would call it the tip of the nail, and move my finger kind of around a little bit, back and forth. Then I'm just moving around anything that I don't want in the specific place, and then I'll be putting it into my jar of clear just to top it off. Again, you'll see me using the brush to tap on by moving my fingers just a little bit back and forth to get better placement of the glitters on my nail. And I am patting down the ones that are kind of sticking up. This is how I prevent any of those chunky glitters from being stuck up in the upright position. one of my soft brushes here to kind of remove some of the excess powder, and you'll see me kind of patting down on my nail. Some of the areas didn't feel fully dry, so I'm just pushing down those chunkier glitters to make sure they stick really well. And here in this part, you'll see me using a harder bristled brush to remove the excess dip powder, particularly the clear dip powder. I do like to use this brush on every single mani, and I definitely like to use it between each dip just to keep my layers as thin as possible and to minimize the amount of bubbling or inconsistencies in the dipping powder. Here you see me doing the exact same steps that I did before, or I go in and do a nice thin even coat of the dip liquid base, and then I go in with my ombre brush and just tap on the glitter while I am moving my finger instead of moving the brush around. That's just my particular method, but you can choose to do whichever you like. As you continue to watch, you'll see me making sure that my cuticle lines are as clean as possible. It just minimizes any type of filing that I have to do later on. It's the same as when I say I apply a nice even coat of dip liquid base. It literally minimizes the filing. That's the main reason. It just creates less lumps and bumps later for me in the end. as you can see, I always, whether it's the first or the second layer of the chunky glitters, I do like to pat down to make sure that they are as flat as possible, especially since I'm going to be doing a clear dip on top of this. As my final step, you'll see me doing a final dip of the glass clear dip powder over everything. This does ensure that your glitters, these beautiful glitters that Ritzy Dips has created, are protected from buffing and filing. It does create some damage to the glitters, and they actually turn silver if you file too much into them. After everything is all said and done, you see me now using a hard bristle brush to remove all that excess clear dip powder that you see there on my nails. It reduces the amount of bubbles It reduces any graininess that could be changing the opacity of the dip powder. And then once I'm done with that, I put on 2 coats of activator. I did buff and file off camera and chipped my nails one tiny little bit. And here I am applying my final coat of activator, which I apply on generously, just like the first time. Once I apply the activator, I do wait about a minute, and then I take a dry napkin and rub very vigorously and remove all of that excess activator so that it doesn't contaminate my dip top liquid brushes. For my top coat today, I'll be using double dip nails, and you'll see me doing quick 2 to 3 strokes without overlapping any areas as my first step. You'll notice that prior to putting the brush back in the bottle, I am wiping it back and forth a couple of times on the napkin just to remove any activator that has gotten on the brushes. This prevents your top coat from being contaminated, and it continues to give your nails that nice shine in the end. If the activator comes in contact with the rest of the bottle, many times it gets gunky and your top coat doesn't get shiny, and it actually doesn't dry. Once your top coat starts getting that little bit of a matte look, it's really hard to see here on the camera. I tried to get an up close shot of it, but it starts to become a little bit matte like. That's your clue that your top coat is beginning to dry and absorb into the activator. So it's time to do your second coat. And at this time, I am not being as careful to go over the same spots twice, but just being a little bit more careful to get around my edges and not get it on my cuticles. I do continue to wipe on a napkin every single time. I typically do it on my base coat and my top coat to prevent contamination of colors as well. as a final step, you'll see me using Revel Nails Almond Cuticle Oil here, one of my favorite scents. And it just helps to nourish the cuticles and any drying that may have been caused from the buffing and filing and all of the dip powder liquids. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.